hi, Kale. It's been a long time since I've been back here, but I'm very excited to be here to see everyone and to talk to you all.
Fantastic. What have you been up to the past couple of days?
Well, I've been globetrotting a fair bit around the world, and so the last 2 days, you know, trying to take it easy, but just going out and eating a lot of Malaysian food.
Of course. What's top of the list at the moment?
For me, it was I wanted my laksa. What? Hi. I wanted laksa. I wanted some Hainanese chicken rice,
Of course.
and of course I wanted some durian. So I did a lot of that yesterday.
Fantastic.
And well, we went to the Batu cave as well. I haven't been there before.
Yeah, so you had a nice long walk up.
It was so long. I didn't realize how high it was.
Yeah.
I was exhausted by the time I got up there, but it was incredible.
Fantastic. Speaking about exhausting, right? I mean, we just watched that fantastic clip just now, and to see all the actors moving, of course, the special effects, but I mean, if they were really like superheroes like that, they would be tired from all the fighting and all the action, for sure. So tell us, what's different with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom compared to the first Aquaman?
Well, the biggest difference, I would say, obviously, is the growth of Aquaman himself. At the end of the first movie, you know, in the first movie, he's a loner trying to find his place in the world, trying to fit in. And at the end of the movie, the first one, he becomes the king of Atlantis. But that's ultimately it. We don't really know what happens next. And what's really fun with this one, the second chapter, is we get to see what happens next, and we get to see him finally being the king of Atlantis, and he's also a dad, a husband, and so he's juggling a lot of responsibilities.
Right. And also, of course, I have to ask this. I'm sure you get this question often. You are responsible for many of my sleepless nights from your previous movies. And any horror elements that you have injected into this movie?
I would say I find myself just naturally inclined to, just leaning towards the scary stuff. And even when I'm not making my scary movies, I still find myself kind of leaning towards that. I've always said that, especially with Aquaman, that deals with the ocean. The ocean is two things. For me, it's very magical, it's wondrous, but then on the other hand, it can be very scary, and I know there are lots of people who are terrified of the ocean, and so I try to play to both sides.
Fantastic. We've got some questions from the media as well, James. One of the media members here from Bulan has asked, what are the new changes to Aquaman's character specifically, and what kind of character development does he go through in this film?
I would say, the biggest thing for him in this one is he's still kind of continuing the journey that he's a reluctant king. He doesn't want to be a king, but he's doing it because it prevents Atlantis from potentially attacking the surface world, attacking us on land, and so he feels like he has responsibility and duties to both worlds. But it's not really a job that he really wants to do. And so in this movie, a lot of it is about finding, what he wants to do, finding that, what it means to be a king, what it means to be a hero. And a lot of times in the movie, it tells us that, sometimes you have to do the things that you don't want to do, and you just got to get up and do it again the next day, even if it's not what you like to do. But that's what it means to be a king, to be a hero, is you got to make those tough choices. And he goes on this journey with his brother, played by Patrick Wilson, Orm, and together they learn about each other, and they learn to be better people.
Fantastic. So it's a lot about responsibility and new roles that is picking up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move to the next question, again, a quick reminder, no photos and videos are allowed to be taken. I know James is looking absolutely sharp today, but we'll get you the official footage after this, all right? Thank you very much. The next question comes from hype.my. What are your personal favorite scenes to direct in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? If you could give us a bit of a sneak peek.
I would say, obviously the action and underwater stuff, the visual effects stuff, are fun to watch. but they're not fun to make. It's quite the opposite. It's very arduous. It's very taxing and just difficult to plan and put it together. So for me, the fun stuff is actually working with the actors. I really like just seeing Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson getting together, and seeing their chemistry together, and seeing what they do with each other, and ad-libbing on stage, just coming up with stuff that aren't necessarily scripted in the script, and that to me is the fun part of filmmaking in general for me.
Right. Were there any technological advancements that helped you maybe shoot the movie in a different way compared to the 2018 one?
Oh yes, definitely. To create the actors swimming underwater. In the first movie, the actors were all harnessed in really awkward and uncomfortable rigs. But it's been 3 to 5 years later, so technology has grown dramatically, and now I don't have to put my actors through so much torturous pain. I just put them into a booth where there's literally hundreds of cameras filming them, and I capture their performances. Take that performances and overlay it back onto a 3D version of themselves that we can create them swimming and moving and all that, and it's really cool. It's great. It's like it's working with the actors, but also mixing in virtual filmmaking at the same time.
Right, fantastic. How about research, right? Of course, I was looking through some of the previous things you've spoken about this movie, right? Very heavily referenced from the silver age of comics. What kind of research did you do personally to prepare for this movie?
Yeah, I definitely, this one more than the first one, I really, the screenwriter, David, and myself, we really love the old comic books that Aquaman is based on from the 1960s, and the Silver Age comic book, and we put inspiration story-wise from that period, and in that period, Patrick's character sometimes is a villain, and other times he and Arthur are allies, and it just felt like the appropriate story with the second one, since we have set up that that was the bad guy in the first movie, so it just felt like character growth in the second movie. And so we were inspired by that from the comic books, and also just the Black Manta storyline as well, just like his sort of thirst for revenge, and that he cannot get over his father's death that we had established in the first film. He blames Aquaman for the death of his father, and this entire movie is just a good old-fashioned revenge story.
Fantastic. We got a fan question from Johnson Ng 25 from Sarawak, right? And he's asking, James, if you can choose between these two superpowers, would you choose hydrokinesis, which I had to Google that up because I had no idea what that meant. It meant controlling water, or talking to fish. Which one would you choose?
That's a very good question. I know talking to fish sounds really lame, but and that's what people always make fun of Aquaman. Oh, his power is he talks to fish. But imagine if you were in the ocean and a shark comes your way. How incredible would it be if you can communicate with this dangerous creature, right? You can kind of befriend it to tell it not to eat you. That would be pretty amazing. So I would say there's something really cool about connecting with the rest of the planet that is, the ocean is more than half the planet. So that's really cool. Yes. Hydrokinesis is the ability to kind of make water do things. That's definitely very cool. That's what Mera has. That's her power.
Yeah.
I like them both.
Of course. But if you had to choose one, it would be talking to fish?
That's the more benevolent one. If you have to fight someone, I think hydrokinesis is better.
Of course. Yeah, or if you need to take a really quick shower, it's fast. Right? Fantastic. Okay.
It's very useful here in Malaysia. Since it rains so much, you have a lot of water to... you can create a bridge over the traffic. It'll be amazing. You can walk over the water.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, a few more questions, James. We've got one from Astro Gumpa. Has there been any distinct Malaysian Easter eggs or influences that you have, quietly put into the movie? Or maybe in any movie in the past as well?
Yeah, I would always say, when people ask me that, I would definitely say that, growing up culturally, Malaysian Chinese, and my heritage in that part of the world is I grew up with a lot of great ghost stories and superstitious stories and all that. So they definitely do influence me in my horror films. They definitely influence me in my ghost movies. I would say, definitely inspired me with things like Insidious and The Conjuring. Definitely, just how those stories made me feel growing up. They would scare the hell out of me, but I love hearing them because they would also excite me, and I try to put that kind of emotion and feeling back into my film.
Any chance that Malaysia will be featured in your movies anytime soon?
I would love to. I would definitely love to find a project that I can, set in Malaysia.
Fantastic. Okay, one final question. Yeah, let's give a round of applause to that, all right?
That is an honest question. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. And it truly is.
Of course.
It's just like, just again, seeing the Batu caves and just, from flying over the country and what I remember growing up, it's just so beautiful. And
for sure.
I want to find the perfect story.
We will be sending you emails every year to remind you, James. Right? We have a clip of this exact moment. I mean, we're really excited. Yeah, we're looking forward for that to happen, hopefully one day. And lastly, we have a question from Axis, and they have mentioned recently the Malaysian film industry, there is an injection or there's a growth of superhero movies. One being Keluang Man, which is a very iconic superhero character, right? It's like a Malaysian Batman almost, right? So cool. Any advice that you can give to local filmmakers here on how to make a successful superhero movie?
I would say, from my own experience of tackling a superhero film is find what is unique about your character. Don't try and copy Superman or Batman or whatever else that we see out there. Find what it is that inspire you about this character or characters and lean into that. Because I think, like, we have a lot of superhero movies, but it's the unique and special ones that really kind of cut through. And all good superhero stories have a message, and so just don't forget to tell your message.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause to James. One more time. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Congratulations on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Thank you. I cannot wait for you guys to see the film. I'm very excited to finally be here. I've waited a long time, and when the opportunity came up with this, I jumped straight at it. So thank you so much, Malaysia. And everywhere else. I know you guys came from all over APEC. Thank you so much, and I'll see some of you in the interviews. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Another round of applause for James. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a little souvenir for you, James, from Warner Brothers Malaysia. Can I invite Miss May and Mr. Richard to come to the front, please? Thank you.